If you've ever felt you've slipped up when you're working towards your body goals and thought, right, that's it, I've ruined it, I may as well finish the pack of biscuits, I'll start again tomorrow, I'll start again on Monday, then this is the video that you need to watch. This kind of self-sabotage is so common amongst my clients, especially ones that come to me for weight loss, who have come from a dieting background. And like myself, if you started dieting in the 90s or even in the 80s, then chances are you were on probably quite a restrictive approach where there were clear guidelines of what was good and what was bad. Now, the analogy that I use for my clients is this: if you get a flat tire, you don't go and slash all other three tires, do you? So, why do we take that approach when it comes to our health and body goals? Now, for most people, this comes from taking an all or nothing approach, an overly restrictive approach, or if you see yourself as a bit of a perfectionist, if you have ADHD, sometimes you can be a little bit more prone to this. So I'm going to share with you what we can do to avoid this, and also what we can do when we're caught up with it, when we're in the moment. Because let's face it, as well as, actually harming your health goals and how you feel about yourself, it's just not a nice way to feel, full stop. So let's end that. So why do we do it? Well, first of all, if you are taking a really restrictive approach, then you're actually giving yourself a lot of opportunities to go wrong. And this is really common in January. We want to go hell for leather. We want to change everything all at once. And most of the time, that's not realistic and it's not sustainable. So it's easy to feel like you've fallen off the wagon or you've just gone totally off piste. And that's one of the reasons why I always say to start small, making those small changes, one at a put my teeth back in, one at a time, to let each change kind of take hold, can be a really effective approach. And the other thing is just not being kind to yourself. If you take the focus that you are changing your lifestyle, you're changing your long-term habits, then that's a really helpful approach versus a short-term dietary approach where you're wanting to make all kind of sacrifices, which isn't sustainable. And again, that falls into the restrictive category. So if we can take a different mindset, then that can really help. So what do you do if you're caught up in the thick of it? Well, first of all, what I would suggest is just taking a moment, change your state. If it's triggering a kind of stress response, if you're feeling a bit panicked, if you're going into this negative spiral of I've messed up again, I've ruined it, I always do this, stop it in its tracks, change your state, do a quick breathing exercise. Box breathing is great to get you into a calm state. If you're not familiar with that, you basically inhale for a count of 4, hold that inhale for a count of 4, slowly exhale for a count of 4 or 5, and then hold that out breath for a count of 4. Do that a few times and it can be really effective to change your state, okay? Because that shame, that guilt, that negative feeling is not going to help you. Secondly, find something that you can do that's going to be a positive action. That could be something really small. So maybe that's just getting outside for a 5-minute walk. And we're not doing this to burn off calories. If you know anything about me, you know that I'm not about counting calories and exercising for the sake of burning calories, but actually just doing something to boost the endorphins in a really healthy and positive way can be super effective. You could even just put on a song that you like, have a little dance. It doesn't even need to be something physical. You can start listing 10 things maybe that you've already changed that you're feeling really proud of. So actually changing your mindset, changing your state is really, really important. Then we need to start to reframe it. Okay, I had that, I don't know, I keep using the example of, having a biscuit, having a cake, or overeating, or having, more alcohol than you intended. Anything that isn't addictive but just doesn't make you feel good, that feels like it's not in line with the actions for your body goals. Just sit with it a moment. Once you've changed your state, try and look like you would if it was a friend telling you. What would you say to them? And get curious with it. Find out, okay, why did I do that? Ask if you're feeling restricted, if you feel that sense of rebellion, like, I'm not having anything sweet, I'm not having any chocolate. Did you want to rebel? Is it something, were you having something that you struggled to moderate? Now, I know for me, I personally don't drink alcohol because I can't moderate for a long period of time. Don't have addiction, but I know for me, I struggle to keep up with that moderation. So it's just easy for me to avoid. That's part of the reason. I'll talk about that another time. But, I also know with milk chocolate, I can't convince myself that I can have a few squares and leave it. I will usually end up eating the whole rest of the bar no matter what size it is. So I know that about myself. So unless I'm prepared to eat that whole bar, I generally won't buy it. So get curious as to why that might be. Perhaps you overate or felt a little binge because you were feeling a certain way. And then you can get curious with what that emotion was and maybe start to explore and even give yourself a resource list. Start listing other ways that you could manage that emotion, whether that's a meditation, whether it's phoning a friend, anything that's just going to help in a really healthy and positive way. Forgiving yourself is crucial because unless you're working towards something like ketosis, which, ketogenic dietary approaches can be helpful for some people. For my clients generally, I don't advocate them. Again, because most of them, including myself, have come from that strict dietary background. And I think that can encourage an unhealthy mental approach to food. Don't get me wrong, for some people that works great. But in that case, yes, you can pull yourself out of ketosis, but there's other ways to bring yourself back. Most of the time, if we're looking at a sustainable dietary approach, you've not undone everything. And that goes back to, listing the positive things that you've done, looking at those examples to realize actually you're still in a different spot to where you were when you first started. And we can look at these things as just a bump in the road. They always say progress is rarely linear. So, if we're literally looking at losing weight, losing fat, it's never going to be just straight down. We're going to have plateaus. We might have little increases, but if the general direction is going the right way, then that's great. There's so much that we can do to change our mindset around this. And I would love for you to share in the comments below if any of this resonates with you, if you think that you could try any of these, if you have your own approaches that help, please do share. I've learned so many tips from my clients. I've been able to share tips with clients. I'm a big believer in sharing the knowledge, sharing the love, what works. And most of all, remember, if you're wanting to make body changes, if you're wanting to make health changes, these are going to be for the long term. Quick fixes don't last, and they can really encourage this all or nothing thinking, this trigger into a shame spiral. So if you're ready to change all of that, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be sharing a lot of nutrition, fitness, lifestyle tips, all geared towards restoring your body confidence, making those physical changes, those mental changes, and just discovering how fabulous you're meant to feel, especially if you're a woman over 40 and you have struggled in the past. If you like this video, make sure you share it with a friend. I'd love to know how you found this. So do put those in place. If you're ready to take a different approach and want to work with me one-to-one, check out the caption below. I'll put all the info as to how you can get in touch with me, and I will see you soon. Take care.